And hello, everybody. Mark Newstater with eXp Realty with another weekly real estate update. It is post Stampede. Jaden Bax is back. Jaden, how are you?
I'm loving life. I'm out at the lake, so I'm really loving life today.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say you're not at your normal location either.
No, this is not. I'm 11 o'clock right now, not noon. So, but I'm just happy to see everybody. We'll be very happy to say goodbye and get back to doing some paddle boarding.
Right, I appreciate that. I'm out at a campsite here on location from my trailer, as I've done in the past. So yeah, we're gonna get to it here and show you the weekly stats and using a little bit different technology today. And there they are. So I think last week I thought we would have our little Stampede Slumber Fest in terms of the real estate market, and I think we saw that this week. Our new listings down to 299 on the detached side of things are sold at 280, pendings at 250. Total sold plus pending at 530 for a net difference of only plus 231. So look at that net difference as it's kind of slidden over the last, even mid-June, like that week of the 16th of the 23rd at plus 305, and we're almost, we're 70 less than that at 231. More price reductions again this week. Our total detached listings crept up to 2251, with our total active listings in all categories, not including recreational. It was funny. I was 4671. So I thought, I'm going to click on recreational and see how many recreational properties there are in Calgary. And of course, there's zero. So this is very accurate. And these now, again, for a disclaimer, these are active listings, not pending, not conditionally sold. So these are active listings, not pending or conditionally sold. So we'll go to the next slide, Jaden. All right. So when we look at a week ago or this week last year, and interestingly, actually, our sales were up the week that closed out yesterday of 542 total. Now, this is total, including detached, semi-detached, row townhouse, and apartment. 9.27, so 10% up. Not a huge amount, but again, this is why I love doing what I do, because we're actually able to break down the stats in Calgary and area and not listen to national media that says the market has completely fallen off. Right, Jaden?
Exactly. Yeah, and it's not the market. We are not a national market. The real estate market is not a national phenomenon. It's very, very localized.
That's right. Yeah. So almost 10% up a week over a week, year over year. New listings pretty much bang on from last year, and our active listings still 22% down. Certainly, I think we're going to see that creep up. Our pendings off the charts again this year versus last year. And then our average days dropped down to 30 in this past week. And I think it had crept up to 32 last week, somewhere in that neighborhood. So yeah, that is kind of a look back at 1 year ago this week. And I would also say, Jaden, if you can go back to the previous slide. So just as we leave that on the screen for a second, I would just say that the first few weeks of July here are actually about 7% up in sales from last year at those same 3 weeks. And we saw that in the week over week analysis there on the other page. But so I would just say, that is what I find super interesting about this market, right? Yes, it's shifted, but we still have, in June, it was 1.9 months of supply. We're not at 3 months. We're not at 4 months of supply like we were in certain segments a few years ago. So this is still a really great time to sell. And on the buying side, what's fantastic is you have a little bit more time to have conditions on your offers. I'm sure, Jaden, you're seeing that too, right? Like virtually zero unconditional offers nowadays.
No, that's gone away. It's definitely and when I have people that are working with realtors that I don't know, which I prefer not to do, but that happens in our industry,
Sure.
and they're saying that their realtors really pushing them into unconditional offer. So well, maybe talk to them about that a little bit more. What kind of market are we in at the moment, and are you ready to pay for that with cash if we can't get the financing ready, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. All right, you scoot on over to your interest rates.
Yeah, and so it was actually a really interesting one today. So, I was getting these ready for Mark, and I was putting my hair the wrong way, and I was, doing my variables. And one of the interesting things that's happened post hike of interest rates on the prime side is that there's a few companies that actually changed their prime on August 1st. So, what were smart brokers and smart bankers at those institutions doing? They were flying in pre-approvals for their clients at that 2.7% variable rather than the 3.7, which is
Mm.
now 3.8. And the reason they were doing that is that they could qualify their clients at 5.25%. And so we have just gotten a slew of emails. I can see that people have been doing it like crazy, slew of emails that, in fact, that is what's happening. August 1st is the change date, but they will be qualifying on what August 1st rates will be. So you'll be qualifying on 3.8 plus 2 is 6.8%. That will be your qualifying rate now. They're not using that 5.25. So just a really interesting way that the banks see what's going on as well, and they're really on top of things. The other thing I wanted to talk about is that fixed high ratio, which is the less than 20% down, 5-year fix, that 4.49. You'll notice it's lower than the 4.59 and 3-year. The reason for that is a special offer that a limited number of brokers in Alberta working with a particular lender have been offered. So I happen to be one of those. And the reason for that is that I am incredibly ethical in the way that I send my deals in, and I package them in a way that is advantageous for the underwriters, for the bank, for everybody. So when I'm working for you, I'm also working for the lender that I'm submitting to, and they recognize that I send in good deals. I'm upfront about anything that they might be weary of, so that we can work through it together. And then I package things really tightly because my clients and I work together before we've ever gone to the lender to make sure that we have as much information as possible up front.
Yeah, that's great. And just for those that maybe haven't seen our updates in a few weeks, with these interest rate hikes, what would you say? So, for a person looking at a $500,000 house, what would their purchasing power drop by with these higher rates?
Oh, you put me on the spot there, but it's going to drop. It's around 50 grand, somewhere around there, 50 to
Yeah, just
75.
ballpark. Yeah,
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 depending on some other things. So, it depends on kind of, yeah, around that 500, around that 10ish percent, depending on income and things like that, because that all
right.
gets taken into things. But yeah, it's significant, right? And so we're seeing that with people that I'm pre-approving now. I'm telling them, like, listen, this is the ballpark, but we don't really know where things are going over the next couple of months. On the flip side of that, those higher fixed interest rates finally are starting to fall. I've gotten a slew of
Right.
emails this week. Everything was at 5.04 prior to this week, getting a
Yeah.
lot of lenders offering 4.64, 4.79 on a 5-year fixed high ratio. The conventional and the uninsurable, which are the 20% down, and then things like a refinance or a rental or a 30-year amortization haven't come down quite as quickly, but they're going to start coming down as well. So, all of those things that's coming down. So that side, I think we'll start to see qualifying go down if you're looking at the fixed because you're the rate plus 2%. Well, the variable is going to continue to go up probably at least one more time this year. So you're going to get squeezed a little bit more there.
Okay. So, in the minute that we have left, I'm going to try and explain it in layman's terms. When you see the high ratio, and that's when you put less than 20% down, so that's a CMHC or an insured mortgage, and then you have a conventional, the interest rate is higher on the conventionals. I'll try to explain it and see if I get it right. Because on your high ratio, less than 20% down, you're paying additional insurance on that. Whereas on the fixed conventional, 20% or higher, it's already worked into that rate. Is that fair to say that? Because some people might be seeing that going, well, why I'm putting less than 20% down? Why is my rate higher?
I get that question a lot, and that's exactly it, Mark. So when you are doing high ratio, the lender is putting the burden of risk on the insurer, right? Because
Yeah,
if that person defaults, the insurer is gonna get them out of that, right? So
yeah,
and then at the conventional side, the lender is actually back in insuring it themselves. They're paying for that. So they're putting some of that into their pricing. And then on the uninsurable side, it's uninsurable. And so they need to account for their risk increase for that. So that's exactly right. I get that question all the time. I've been a good saver. I'm doing all the right things. I'm an A client. Why am I paying more than that guy with 5% down? Because at the end of the day, believe it or not, as that great client, you're more risky to the lender than the insured person is.
Doesn't make sense, but there's the explanation, and that
Yeah.
is how it works. So it'll be interesting to see. I have a new listing going up tomorrow in Copperfield. So I was mentioning to somebody else the other day, this is my first listing since we've seen a little bit of the market shift here in the last little bit. And a ton of people taking possession in June. So this will just be interesting to see what happens. I'll be able to report back next week on that, see how that is going. And stay in touch. Let's have a conversation. If you're looking to buy, if you're looking to sell, if you're looking to refinance or get a new mortgage, obviously Jaden's your guy, and he's who all my clients are referred to. So with that, Jaden, you go back to paddleboarding and make sure you send us some good fail pics when you fall in.
I'm sure Paula will be sending everything along to you for sure. She's getting as many as she can.
That's great. All right, everyone, enjoy this amazing day out there, and we will talk to you in 7 days. Thanks.
Have a good one, guys.